So what we're able to do here at Best Practice Medicine with the National Mobile Campus is take that to where the education needs to go. Not only is it mobile, it's big. So we can actually run more than one simulation concurrently and really meet the needs of the client and tailor that specific to their population. It hooks up to a tractor trailer, 18-wheeler, and it can go anywhere we can back it into. And we're not just doing it halfway, right? This is like a fully accredited program just to the same level that your big medical centers that have the simulation centers inside. It's accredited to the same standards, same organization, using the same best practices and the same techniques.
The National Mobile Campus that we have here at Best Practice is currently the only provisionally accredited simulation mobile unit in existence. The National Mobile Campus allows us to take high fidelity simulation to the smaller areas that don't actually have access to the high fidelity simulation.
Most simulation is done in a classroom setting or in the hospital room or in the ambulance, that type of thing. There's a lot of EMT programs, paramedic programs, nursing programs, and even practitioners at their fire department, in their EMS station or in the hospital, that they don't have access to simulation. So we can also meet that goal and bridge that gap by just bringing it to them. This level of education and being able to have that experience is cost prohibitive. And so this is a solution in order to bring that to really the masses. And also to reproduce results, which is pretty amazing to be able to pump through thousands of learners per year to have these high-level experiences.
We can practice high acuity, low occurrence events, pediatric events, things you don't see very often but are super high risk, and we can actually practice those with all the agencies that we serve.
Whether it's a group of nurses, group of paramedics, firefighters, law enforcement, we're able to meet with their education team and custom craft high fidelity simulation to do what it is that they're trying to achieve, and really give those learners that kind of crank it up several notches from just using a simulator that doesn't move or doesn't respond.
All the evidence supports that if you have the hands-on, real life going through the motions, doing all the education pieces, you're way more likely to retain that. And then when you actually get out in the real world, experiencing it with live patients, you have already done and experienced, and you can retain and grab from that information that you learned through the simulation. With the traveling paramedics, we're able to get them into different state agencies quicker so that they can get on the streets quicker.
Today we're running some paramedics through our HALO program, so our high acuity, low occurrence program. And this is a series of high fidelity simulations.
One of the benefits of the high fidelity simulator and the simulations that we go through with our crews is we can create realistic real life events. So for example, a post-traumatic emergency section that happens in the ER. Very low occurrence, super high risk. So we would train those clinicians in that particular scenario. And then the next week they might have it. And so they can draw on the experience of, hey, I've already done this. I've already know how we do it. And thank goodness I had a simulation, because now I can actually put that into practice. And that is what is so valuable about simulations, is they can practice in the environment, they can make the mistakes, they can learn from their mistakes, and then without doing any harm. And then when it happens in real life, they can draw on those experiences, which is what, in my mind, makes simulation so awesome.
There's a lot of procedures in emergency medicine and critical care that seconds, minutes, the first hour really matters. And just like you have to pit crew on, it's like a NASCAR, right? In order to, they come in and get new tires or get whatever addressed. It's the same thing taking care of a patient who's really suffering. So we are able to teach and to reproduce the need for those critical interventions and really get people to a point where they're able to work together as a team and get all the correct interventions in those first few minutes. That's where we really feel like we're able to make a difference. And at the end of the day, have people either be healthier or at least recover from their injuries or illness better, or diminish the severity of the illness they do have. These learners are going to be going down to California, so this helps us to evaluate their knowledge and their performance And we can do kind of not just a general skills validation, but a specific skills validation for that agency or for that county that's going to be receiving these travel paramedics as temporary employees.
We have some high fidelity mannequins that are as real life as it gets. They move their arms, they talk, they interact with you.
They can speak either with like pre-canned phrases, or the simulation technologist who's running the case can use a microphone to speak through to make the patient talk, to interact with the clinicians that are in the room.
Oh, I feel better, but I don't know. I don't know if I can breathe very well.
Their skin is like a special type of rubber that feels fairly lifelike. It feels like you're working with a person. The simulators can have vital signs of blood pressure, heart rate, can blink, cry, make sounds, if they're throwing up.
There's no prompting, scripting. They come in, they actually talk to the patient. They talk to the mannequin. It will respond to them. It will do all the things that a real live patient would do.
The simulators can also receive interventions, so whether it's an airway device, catheter, urine catheter, chest tubes.
Anything that you would do on a real patient, you can do on the mannequins, which helps our learners be more immersed in the simulation itself.
We even have simulation technology to even do childbirth. So, for example, like a mother simulator that can give birth to a simulated baby, and to go through either normal childbirth or childbirth with complications. The ability to create that realistic environment is kind of only limited by your imagination, right? The technology is there, and we are constantly working to improve the nuances, whether it's moulage makeup to make the patient make their bleeding, or body fluid, or maybe the person is in a fire and they have soot around their mouth, just things like that, or a burn. But also, these simulators are all wireless, right? So it's not tethered to the wall. We charge everything up, the night before, and there's no reason why we couldn't start a case over in the field, and then have the learners work on that patient, put them in an ambulance or aircraft, transport them over to the campus, then have the campus, say, be the hospital setting, physically bring the simulator in there and continue care just like you would with your patient who starts in the pre-hospital environment. And you can actually do all that with these simulators because everything is either Bluetooth or a closed network, so there's no wires attached.
I see great value in the simulation. People learn when they're actually doing, they retain a whole lot better. They draw from experiences. So for new paramedics, new EMTs, they don't have any experiences to draw from. But if you put them in a simulation, that's an experience that they can draw from. So it gives them an exposure to what they might see when they actually get out on the street or in the hospital setting.
I just think it's really exciting to be a part of this because, like I said, we can take the learning to where it needs to be. Even though simulation has really taken off as its own medical field, there's still a huge subset of medical clinicians that won't have the opportunity to use high fidelity simulation because of cost or the expertise required to do that. So we can bring both the hardware and the expertise to where it needs to be. Pretty much be anywhere in the United States in less than 3 days. So pretty neat.
So the goal would be to have more national mobile campuses to help serve our customers better. We currently have one. We would like to grow it to 10 and have several simulation team leaders that consist of a team leader, a crew chief, a logistics person that would help run the national mobile campuses.
For me, this is all about patient care. This is all about that sick person, that hurt person, that quite frankly might be you or your loved one. It's about getting those patients like that high level care that they deserve. And if we can be a part of that by encouraging clinicians or by showing them a few tricks or bringing them up to the current best practice with that particular disease or illness, that's the mission, right? Is patients getting that care that they really deserve.